Have you ever seen a moment that changed everything in a room, a moment where one person crossed a line and found out too late who was watching? This story isn't just about a diner, a waitress, or a tattooed stranger. It's about the day cruelty met loyalty, and loyalty didn't back down, stay until the end, because what happened outside in that parking lot is something people in that town still talk about to this day. There was a small roadside diner on Route 49, the kind of place where the air always smelled like pancakes and coffee, and the regulars knew each other by name. Inside, behind the counter, worked Ellie, a 26-year-old waitress with gentle hands and tired eyes. She wasn't loud, she didn't complain, and she always smiled even when life didn't give her many reasons to. Ellie had been through things, more than she ever told anyone. Her mother passed away when she was a teenager, and her father, unable to handle the grief, disappeared into the bottom of a bottle. Ellie learned early that strength didn't need to shout. Sometimes, it simply held on. The diner was her peace, her routine, her safe place, and across the parking lot, people often saw the Hells Angels motorcycle club stopping by. Not to cause trouble, but because Ellie treated them like people, not stereotypes, especially Bear, a broad-shouldered biker in his late 40s with gray in his beard and a voice like gravel. Bear wasn't scary to her. He was steady. He watched out for her, quietly, and Ellie appreciated that. But that day, something happened that no one expected. Around lunchtime, a man walked in, tall, muscular, arms covered in ink from wrist to neck, but not the kind of tattoos that told a story. These were the kind that screamed for attention. His name was Roy, and he walked like the world owed him something. He sat at the counter, eyed Ellie like she wasn't a person, but a thing. She kept professional, warm, polite. "Can I get you anything, sir?" she asked softly. Roy smirked. "Oh, I can think of a few things." It was the kind of voice that made everyone look away. Ellie ignored the comment and poured his coffee, but Roy wasn't here for coffee. He wanted power, or the illusion of it. He grabbed Ellie by the arm when she tried to step away. "Hey," she said gently. "Please don't do that." The diner got quiet. Like the air itself held its breath. Ellie stayed calm. She didn't yell, she didn't cry, but Roy wanted attention. "You think you're too good for me?" he sneered, and with one rough pull, he ripped the sleeve and front seam of her uniform shirt. Her breath caught, not in pain, but humiliation. A silence fell. A heavy one. Ellie froze, not because she was weak, but because old memories had taught her that reacting only made things worse. But there was something Roy didn't know. At the back booth, behind him, Bear and 4 Hells Angels were sitting, and they had seen everything. Bear stood up. No shouting. No anger, just cold, quiet, controlled purpose. His boots echoed across the floor as he approached. The whole diner watched. Roy turned, saw the cuts, the jackets, the patches, and his smirk faltered, but only for a second. Bear's voice was calm. "You're going to apologize to her?" Roy scoffed. "And who the hell are you?" Bear leaned close enough for their foreheads to almost touch. "Someone who doesn't like seeing good people hurt." The room was still. Roy swallowed, but pride is a powerful poison. He didn't apologize. Instead, he shoved Bear back. Everyone in the diner knew then, this wasn't going to end here. Bear didn't hit him, not inside, not in front of Ellie. He just looked at Roy and said one simple sentence: "Let's step outside." She didn't want violence, Bear knew that, but this wasn't about violence. It was about respect. Roy cracked his knuckles. "You think having a leather jacket makes you someone?" Bear didn't answer. He didn't need to point. 2 other bikers, Brick and Mac, stood nearby. Not interfering. Not threatening. Just present witnesses. Roy swung first. A wild, angry punch, the kind thrown by someone who never learned control. Bear moved aside with effortless calm and placed one solid fist into Roy's chest, not bone-breaking, just enough to take the air out of him. Roy stumbled. Bear didn't follow. This wasn't about winning, this was about teaching. "You don't touch women," Bear said. His voice was steady, grounded. Roy caught his breath, red-faced, and came again, this time grabbing for Bear's shirt. That's when Bear grabbed Roy's wrist, twisted, and brought him to his knees on the gravel. The pain was sharp and immediate. "You don't humiliate people," Bear continued. "You don't get to walk into someone's workplace and tear them apart to feel big." Roy struggled, but Bear's grip held firm, not cruel, just unbreakable. Ellie watched, not with fear but with something like gratitude, mixed with sorrow. She didn't want anyone to be hurt because of her. She never did. Bear looked at her then. He released Roy, and said quietly, "Say it." Roy gasped, still on his knees in the dust, "I'm sorry." Not loud, not sincere, but it came out. Bear nodded once. That was enough. Mac stepped forward and tossed Roy his ripped shirt sleeve. "Time to go," Mac said. Roy got up, pride shattered, and stumbled to his car. As he drove off, the diner exhaled. The tension dissolved like fog in morning sun. Bear walked back to Ellie. "You okay?" he asked. Ellie's voice trembled. Not from fear, but from the weight of someone finally standing up for her. I will be, she said. Bear nodded. You always have people in your corner, he said, even when you think you don't. And for the first time in a long time, Ellie believed it. Ending message. For your outro, sometimes life puts the wrong people in our path, but it also sends the right ones. Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it sits quietly at a diner table, watching, protecting, waiting to stand up when it matters. And loyalty, real loyalty, doesn't ask for attention. It simply shows up.